Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Warhammer 40,000 Imperial Knights Chainbreaker Lance. This is the new Christmas box set that's going to be available shortly. We know it's going to be somewhere around like $200 to $225 roughly, and did a full breakdown on exactly how much you save on that set with the individual components. But it is going to be somewhere around like 35 to 40% off, depending exactly where the prices fall. Roughly. And in this video, we're going to discuss the components of the set, how many points each thing is, how you can take it, the different options available, the minimum points, maximum points. Would you potentially want to get multiples of this? Could you use it if you wanted to play Chaos Knights? And if you did buy one or two of these, what else would you buy to supplement the army? So that being said, if you enjoyed today's video, if you get some value out of it, make sure to like and subscribe. We do daily reactions, reviews, and news, as well as painting, modeling, conversion tutorials for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, warcry, and Horus Heresy. Pretty much any of the GW games. So that being said, we're going to start off here with the Chainbreaker Lance. You have the one large knight, who is the unique character, Canis Rex. And then you see actually his pilot is down there at his side, as he does have a special ability that allows him to get out if the knight's destroyed, etc. And then you're going to get 4 of the Armigers, 2 Warglaives, and 2 Helverins. So that being said, let's take a closer look at the points and exactly what we have going on here. Alright, so right out of the box, we have Canis Rex, 440 points. That's the big guy there in the middle, and that includes Sir Hector, the actual pilot. And that kit is able to be built differently. We're going to talk about that in a minute as well. And then we also have 2 Warglaives, which are the close combat and melta ones on our left. And then we have 2 of the Helverins, which have the autocannons, and they each have 2 of those on the right. So the red and blue respectively. The Warglaives are 300 points. The only real option they have is to take a melta gun upgrade instead of the heavy stubber. That's an extra 5 points. So you could stretch that a couple points if you wanted. And then on the Helverins, it's the same thing. They are actually 310 for the 2 of them, so it's a difference between 150 for the Warglaives or 155 for the Helverins, and then an extra 5 points if you want to take a melta gun instead of the heavy stubber. So total we have 300 and 310 and 440. Now the other options that you would have available, and obviously we can see that comes out to 1,050 points, so just over 1,000, just like that. We don't know for sure if you're going to get the full kit for the Warglaives and the Helverins in the box set. The way it was worded in the article, it sounds like you're only going to get the weapon sprues to build 2 Warglaives and then also to build 2 Helverins. You won't be able to build 4 of one or 4 of the other, which is how you would normally get it if you had the full kit. That is just speculation based on their wording right now. We'll have to see, obviously, once we have the kit in our hand, etc. But in the meantime, we're going to assume that. And then also, it doesn't make a huge difference, honestly, unless that was a deal breaker on whether or not you wanted the set. For a long time, the Armigers were packaged in sets of 2, and they came only to build Helverins or Warglaives. It wasn't until very recently, actually, that Games Workshop started putting both of the weapon sprues in each kit, so you could build either or the other, which is really cool for magnetizing. But again, we don't know how that's going to fall in this set. So next we have our Big Knight. So the cool thing about the Big Knight is, again, that's a multi-kit. Not too long ago, Games Workshop transitioned, and every knight that is on this chassis, including Hector and Canis Rex, are now in the same kit. So the same kit has all the components to build any of the knights that are on that chassis, which is a bunch of knights. So I went through and I figured out the absolute cheapest knight you could get and then the absolute most expensive knight so we could figure out the exact points. The absolute cheapest one you can get is the Gallant. It is essentially just a close combat knight. It has the gigantic chainsword and the gauntlet, like the Thunder Fist that we see in the picture here. Those are the 2 weapons that it has, and then it has just like a little heavy stubber here and there. But it's 400 points. That's the cheapest you could get. Even with that knight at 400 points, unless you can build 4 Warglaives, we see the Warglaives are 300 for 2. You could get 4 Warglaives for 600 and a Gallant for 400 and come in exactly at 1,000 points. But that is the only way you can basically make that happen. And again, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to build 4 Warglaives. So that is important to know regardless. And then the opposite end of the spectrum, the most expensive knight that you can build on this chassis is the Crusader. And the Crusader is strictly shooting. Now he does still have some combat capabilities, but that is 530 points for the Crusader with the Gatling cannon and a battle cannon, or there's other options as well that you could take, combination of them, etc. But with a Storm Spear rocket upgrade as well. And if you fully kit him out, that comes out to 530 points. And then again, if we took 2 and 2 of the Helverins, which come in the set, that's going to be 610 and 530, so about 1140 points. So we can see that it is possible to come in at 1000 points if you can take 4 of the Warglaives, but assuming not, the cheapest you can do this set for is 1010, and then the most points you can get is 1140 out of it. Now there are a couple ways you could probably nitpick a couple extra points here and there to add on to the set, buy like every available upgrade, but there's not a ton of extra stuff there is here. Now there are some points upgrades that you can get out of the codex and stuff like that, but as far as actual equipment or anything like that, this is where you're going to come in at. So roughly 1000 points to 1100 points. And then the detachment you're going to build is a super heavy detachment, so no problems there. Now, can you do this for, obviously it's intended for Imperial Knights, but could you buy this box set and use it for Chaos Knights as well? And the answer to that is yes, it actually has all knights that used to be used in the Chaos Knights line, and it wasn't until they started building the different knight kits for the main knights and then also for the carnivores as well that they have their own individual kits. But these are all still data sheets in the Chaos Codex, and you could 100% buy this set and run it as Chaos Knights, and it wouldn't even be proxying. You'd be using the actual models as intended. So definitely is viable for Imperial and Chaos Knights. Do I think it's good? Yep, I did a full breakdown of the price on this. It's absolutely awesome. Games Workshop does not discount knights very often, so when they do go on sale, if you're interested in them, it's always nice to pick those up. If you didn't check out that video, I'll put a link. Go ahead and check that out as well. Did the full breakdown of all the boxes and kind of give you an idea of how much value's in them, which are the best, etc. So here we have the next question. Would you buy multiple boxes of this? For Imperial, I would say yes. You would buy 2 boxes of this for sure and have a 2,000 point army. You would have 2 big knights. You would have 8 small knights. Be able to run a ton of combinations of basically, you could potentially squeeze in up to 10 models, but really you'd more likely than not be coming in somewhere around like 8 or 9 for a full 2,000 point army kitted out. And I think it would be a great army. You wouldn't feel like you were missing anything. You wouldn't feel like anything's different. The only thing that you wouldn't have the option to build is basically the Tyrant, or in this case, the Castellan Valiant. So we'll talk about that a little at the end. And then what about for Chaos? Would you buy multiple boxes for Chaos? I would say it's a no for Chaos. Because there are so many other awesome knight kits available for Chaos, not just because they're really good in game terms, but they just look awesome as well and have tons of super cool chaotic bits. And I wouldn't want to have just these and play it as Chaos. I would rather have some of the other Chaos Knights and some of this. If you got the last Chaos Knight box set that came out with the new Warglaives in it, and then also one of the Despoiler Knights and the Chaos Codex and all that stuff, it would go very well with one of these. I would definitely recommend it then. But I wouldn't do 2 of these straight up for Chaos. And there is no Combat Patrol available, so that is not an option. And then essentially, we already talked about it, but if you combine everything together, you have the potential to possibly build a 2,000 point army right on the dot, or more likely 2,020 to like 2,280 points. And then that is a full 2,000 point army for basically 2 of these boxes, which is a really good deal. Assuming they come in somewhere around 200 to 225, you have a full knight army for like 400 to 450 bucks. That's pretty awesome and definitely a good deal. Super fun. Really, really fun to play with them. They're actually like really good for tournament play and stuff like that. They may not always win tournaments, but it's fun because you have less models. You get to really enjoy yourself and really get to play your army. I love playing knights. They're really fun, and I definitely recommend this setup. So the last question is, okay, what's missing from this? What would you potentially want to get instead of getting 2 of these if you were just going to build your best and favorite, most awesome knight army? Well, the only thing you're not really going to have access to for Imperial Knights is the Castellan/Valiant. That is the larger knight, and it is really good, but not very popular in the meta currently. It's not that they're not good. They just don't quite do anything so great that they're worth the points. So the real decision is, if they were a little less points, you'd probably see a lot more of them. But if they stayed about where they are, probably not going to see too much of them. I really like the Castellan. It's super fun. The Valent's definitely an opportunity as well for some fun. The Chaos version of that is the Tyrant. And again, it's the exact same thing, exact same kit. There's no Chaos version of the kit. It's just the same one. And then if you were going to do Chaos and you were going to buy something different, you didn't want two of these, or maybe you weren't sure if you were going to do one at all, the Rampager kit is really, really cool. It builds 2 various knights, and then also the new Psyker Knight as well is really cool. It's definitely good in game terms. So rather than have 2 of the larger chassis knight that comes in this set, I would want to have at least 1 of each if I was doing the big knights. And then for the War Dogs, all of these War Dogs are really good. The Armiger dual kit for Chaos and Imperial, but there's also those dedicated War Dog kits, and they're just so cool. I would definitely want some of those as well. So for Chaos, if you already had the box set with the Codex release, I would do one of these. That'd be a cool setup. For Imperial, I would definitely do 2 of these. Cool setup. But arguably, if I was a Chaos player and I didn't already have any knights, I would maybe buy 1 of these and then add in some of the other knights. And just popping over to Games Workshop site real quick, we can see the Knight Abominant is just super cool. I mean, that's an awesome kit. This is the Knight Despoiler. That's the exact same knight that comes in this box set. These are the exact same War Dog Executioners that come in the box set. This is the Knight Tyrant we talked about. Here are the War Dog Huntsmen. Those are the other 2 small knights that come in the box set. And then here are the other 2 builds for the Chaos dedicated kit. And you can see all the extra bits and everything that really make it look super Chaos. The ones without all the bits are still Chaos, but not nearly as much. Because here we see the Carnivores, the Brigands, and the Stalkers. 1 kit builds all 3 of these, and these are all super, super cool. So I wouldn't want to have 2 of these if I was going to build a Chaos Knight army. I would rather have some of the super cool Chaos Knights from the line, and then probably just use a bunch of extra bits to convert these ones. So definitely for Imperium 2, for Chaos, it's a no-go. And then here again is the Tyrant that you could potentially take in Imperial or Chaos Knights. Single kit builds, both options. Really, really cool, but again, not really fitting in the meta massively right now at the moment. So that being said, when it's all said and done, I think this is a great box. It's going to be a really good value, depending exactly where it comes in. It's just how great of a value, but around like 35 to 40% off, which is awesome from Games Workshop. It does come in right around 1,000 points. Gives you a little options on some leeway there to either drop or add some points. But that is basically a nice size force right off the bat. Would you do 2 of them? Yes for Imperial, no for Chaos. And then obviously, 2 of these boxes together will have you a 2,000 point army for a pretty good deal. But if you did want some other options, there's the Castellan Valiant / Tyrant, which is all just 1 kit, just the Chaos or Imperial version. And then if you are playing Chaos, you may want some of the Rampagers or the dedicated War Dogs, just because they're super awesome. They come with a ton of extra bits, and then you could use those bits to turn these guys a little extra Chaos as well. So another great kit. Let me know what you guys think of this video. Did you find it useful? If so, make sure to like and subscribe, share it with your friends. Also, we put out daily videos, reactions, reviews, and news, painting, modeling, conversion tutorials for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, warcry, and Horus Heresy as well. Make sure to check all that cool stuff out. And then obviously, let me know if there's other kits right now that you want to see, Christmas boxes in particular, or if you have any questions or anything, if you're super excited, or what part of this video could have been more helpful or was already extremely helpful. It helps me make these videos better for you guys and more value. So that's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.